Hey, it's Leroy. I'm the manager at Gnomes Lawn Ornaments and I make statuary. Um, we have over 850 molds and we have a lot of items, and it's a pretty successful hobby. Probably close to being at the business stage. But besides all that, that's kind of saying I've been at this for about 8 years now, and I have over 850 molds the last time I counted, which was probably 4 years ago. So I probably don't have too many more. Probably hitting possibly 950, possibly maybe even more. I don't know. I'm at the point now where I'm starting to throw molds away that don't work out for me. But either way, I'm making this video to give some advice on statue care. I get asked all the time, what do I do with this thing? Can I paint it? Do I stain it? What do I do with it? Do I bring it inside? My answer is that's a lot of work, really, I think, to bring statues in all the time, because there are quite a few people that are right into this stuff and they bring their statues in. I think that's crazy. They are cement. They do last, but they also, because they are cement, they do wear out. What happens is every time it rains or the weather or freezes or something, it hits your statue, and then it just washes away the small aggregate of the cement, and then it just gets rough. You start seeing the small pebbles show up, or the stone maybe, and then of course more porosity there is in the statue. It soaks up more moisture, and if there's a hole or a crack, and then it just starts exploding. Of course, that takes time, although I've had statues fall apart on me just by moving them. It's not uncommon, believe it or not. Doesn't matter how good your cement is or how bad, it doesn't last forever either way. But one of the things you can do to make it last is to put a stain or a clear coat, or paint them. I think the painting option is probably the most popular, because there's a lot of people that love the natural look of just the cement and they want it to wear with nature, and they're fine with that. One of the other popular options I do at Six Gnomes is I do a black wash on it, which is a driveway sealer, and I just spray it on, and then you get a mason's sponge, and which is just more porous than the regular sponge, like a painter sponge. Probably not much difference though, but either way, it works. You get it wet, and then you just wash off the driveway sealer, and it kind of gives it that dark look to it, more gothic looking. It's kind of, it works great on angels, to make them look older, or the gargoyles, to bring out the detail in like a gargoyle, and it just makes them a little more, and it works. Same thing with dogs or pets, like animals, statues. It gets into the depth, the detail of the fur, and in the creases of the eyes and stuff, and it just brings out the features. And it actually works on quite a few, almost all items, and that's a really popular look that sells well for me. The next one is stains. I don't actually do a lot with stains. They're expensive. I think it's last time I bought some, they were about $55, $60 for a 1 liter jug of stain that you had to dilute and mix at a 1-to-10 ratio, I think it was, or it was something like that. I think it was 1-to-10 ratio. So it does work. It does last, maybe cost efficiently, but paint is still a lot cheaper. And I found that the stains still came off in the same amount of time as paint does. This paint doesn't last forever. I still have items that from when I first started doing this, not many, there's like only one or two left now. And the paint is still on them, and they've been outside the whole time. So not everything sells, but everything sells. And so I don't do the stains, and I do a lot of the black washing and then the paints. I don't generally just clear coat my statue, but I always suggest that you at least clear coat it on the minimum if you want it to last a little longer. Because to me, every time you clear coat or paint something, it gives you an extra 2 years of life for your statue, or the lifespan. And the clear coat I use is from Home Hardware, and it's called Home Builder. I generally use the low gloss sealer. There is also a high gloss. The high gloss has a red label. This one has a green label. They do change their colors every now and then, so keep that in mind if you're trying to go back and mimic the same stuff I get. But I promote this stuff because it's cheap when it's on sale. Nowadays I think it's about $25 for the 3 liters, 4 liter jug, and it works. And I always suggest, like, if you're maintaining your statues, there's quite a few people that do. I just suggest you put a fresh clear coat in the spring so it looks nice for you all summer, and maybe one in the fall, so that way it helps protect from the winter. Another thing is, if you have a statue and it's painted, I suggest that you put it on pebbles or stones, or you can buy little feet or something, or maybe even, like, if you're going to put it in a garden area on soil, you put a patio stone on the soil, and then put your statue on the patio stone. You want the water to wash away and not let the statue soak up the moisture from the bottom. If it's on wood chips and stones already, then the stones will probably be great. Wood chips have a little bit of moisture, so the water will still wash away, and that's lovely too. But same thing, if it's on a patio, you want to get some airflow under it, so the water, no standing water. When I first started doing this, I was doing this in my driveway, and I had statues lined up along the house, and of course the eaves on a heavy rain would drip down on the property I had when I first started doing this, and it dripped right on top of a statue. And of course, when I first started doing this, it was late in the season, late in the year, so fall, so it started freezing and thawing, and it just exploded the base. And by spring, a lot of the base had just chunked off. So just keep that in mind too. Like, you don't want your statue sitting in water or having water drip on it all the time. It's okay if Mother Nature does it every now and then. Your statue will last longer, but it really gets the deterioration of your cement statue will be sped up by waterfalls and mud puddles, etc., and the moist soil. So that's why I suggested the patio stone. And same thing for bird baths. Like, they're kind of top heavy. So, and let's just think of the Leaning Tower of Pisa. You got a small base, but a lot of weight at the top, and so it if you give it a foundation of a patio stone, it's easier to keep the patio stone level than it is the skinny little bird bath base. So for the statues that have a small base and are kind of bulky or top heavy, then I suggest you put them on a patio stone. And if they're blowing over all the time, you just use, believe it or not, the same stuff you use to repair statues. A little bit of PL Premium from LePage. There it is. It's a construction adhesive. It also comes in a caulking. They use it for subfloors, but this stuff works awesome on cement to keep it together, as long as your cement still has integrity. So if it keeps, every time you rub cement and you're rubbing sand off your statue, it's not going to hold, right? And to me, it has the same kind of quality as wood glue has on wood. It will hold more together than what in strength than the cement has, because the PL will pull the cement away from the statue. So if that happens, it just wasn't strong enough, loosen it just and then re-glue it, or toss the statue out. It's time for a new one. That happens too. I get lots of people coming in here, well, I have a statue, it's 50 years old, can you repair it? It's like, it's gonna be tough. And would it be worth it if it doesn't have much life left? So, painting. I do a lot of painting on these statues. So I buy exterior latex in the house paint by the jug, and this is my black, as you can see by the top. And then I just pour this out into my tray, and the trays I use are usually just meat trays of some kind, and they usually work. But I'll take my 4-liter pail and I'll put it into, can't tell, but this is a Base-L butter container. And then this is my base coat black. And I have a base coat white as well and a base coat gray. Those are my top 3 base colors that people like and sell, especially when you do a dry brush white over black or the gray, or just dry brush a statue white. It just makes the cement look brighter. Think of when they make new sidewalks and they paint them white. It just makes them pop. And then when you clear coat it, then it just makes them glow a little more with the shine or the sheen of the clear coat. High gloss is really glossy. Thompson's water seal is the least amount of sheen, and it stays tacky. If you use a Thompson's water seal, I suggest you use it on plain cement. And you can put it over the paint as long as it's the water-based version, which is probably more common nowadays. If you got some old stuff in the garage, it might be not water-based. So just keep that in mind, that the Thompson's water seal will stay tacky for several weeks. It will start hardening up after a couple weeks. I don't know why it does it, but Thompson's water seal, it works. And it's cheap as well. It's probably the same cost as the low gloss stuff that I get from Home Depot. But I like this stuff because you can touch it. By the time you're clear on a sunny day, if you're doing this outside, time you're done going around your statue, you can already start doing a second layer. And time you're done your second layer, of course, each consecutive layer is faster because the first layer usually soaks in the most. But then you can I usually do 2 or 3 layers on it, and then that gets you 2 to 5 years. And then the clear coat, after a couple years goes by, 3, 4, 5 years, it will start doing, you know how you get sunburn, then the sun peel comes a few days later and you get the clear coat looks like that. I haven't tried it because my statues don't come back, but I do know if you re-clear coat it, then the clear coat will make that white look from the peeling go away, although you can scuff off the white stuff, but you don't want to scratch up your paint if you don't have to, because chances are the paint's okay, especially if you just want to touch up the clear coat. And then that will give you another couple years. And that's probably why I suggest you add another clear coat every year. It just keeps it fresh, keeps it thick, keeps it protected. Think of it like a raincoat for a rainy day for your statue. And then, because if you do that after you paint it, with your craft paints, I get this from Amazon. I don't even know the name. Sargent, I've heard of it before. Deco Art, Dollar Store, Walmart, Michaels. Michaels has more of a selection, and they just cost a little bit more, well, quite a bit more compared to the dollar store. And Walmart's kind of right in the middle of the pricing. Not like it's crazy, much more crazy, but this is like $1.50 at the dollar store, where at Walmart it's $2 to $3, and Michael's they're up to I think $6 or $7 for these little jugs. And just the difference is dollar store has your base colors, Walmart has a little more selection. They'll have like your copper and your rich espresso, where the dollar store only has silver and gold kind of a thing. And then when you go to Michael's, and they have every supplier out there, and they have all their colors, and then they have it in all the different size bottles. So it's just, but then it costs more to have that convenience. So just keep that in mind. Of course, these are all Canadian stores I'm talking about because I'm Canadian, and this is where I do it. So, and then my brushes, when I'm just doing black washing, or well, with black washing, if I use a brush, I spray the tar. It's a driveway sealer for the black washing, and I use one of those undercoating guns. I can get those from You can get those from Princess Auto, the gun kit. I think it's an air hose kit or something, or I'm not sure. Anyways, it comes with like a sprayer, and then the handle, and then an air nozzle, and then a couple other things in this little box, and then the cleaning stuff as well. And it's like $40 to $50, I think, at Princess Auto. I'm sure you can get them other places. I just know Princess Auto has it. And then if I do end up brushing the driveway sealer on the statue for the black wash, I will use a regular brush, like 1.5 inches, just normal brush, because then it just moves more material. Because you don't, on a hot day, you don't have a lot of time to sponge off the tar. It dries pretty quick, especially if you're doing a bigger statue or you're brushing it on. You'll have to push harder with your sponge, or dump water on it, sponge some water over top, and keep it damp. And that for the painting and the clear coat, I just use the 1/2 inch brushes. These are older ones, but I keep these ones. These are just naturally worn out like this. So I keep these shorter ones for harder details. So like if you need to get inside of an ear on a dog or a cat statue, or underneath the nose, the chin, or you got some porosity, which is, think of the sponge again. It's got the holes in it. That's porosity. Most statues, even if you have a resin statue that you're going to paint or repaint, they probably have some porosity. And it usually happens along the seam, or if there's a relief. So if you have a chin on a statue, on an angel or a Bigfoot or something, or even a dog, but it's usually the dogs are up higher, but angels usually have their face down, and then air gets caught at the bottom of the chin. And so you put a relief in the mold to let the air flow through the chest, and sometimes, or in the neck and chest, and then usually an air bubble will get stuck there and create porosity. And you can repair it with just some Portland mix. If you're painting, I have used drywall compound, and I know other local suppliers around here, guy in Chatham and stuff, he uses Bondo, and there's another guy in Windsor, I think he uses Bondo, and I talked to another guy in Toronto, he uses Bondo as well. I know there are a lot of interior statues made with drywall compound because it's lighter, but you can form it, so it's easy to repair, and it's lighter, and it won't damage floors like cement will. So cement kind of generally goes outside, but if it's just for a spot of porosity and you're going to paint it and then clear coat it, chances are the drywall compound will work, just to fill up those little holes. Although if you have some cement around, just take the stones out, mix that up, use the powder, and that will fill in the holes as well. I'm sure there's other stuff you can use. I don't know about it. Generally, I don't fix the porosity because it's just so much time invested in it. But for someone that's going to redo their own statue, it's probably worth it to you. To me, it's just pour another one, or if I can't fix it easy, then it's just cheaper to discount it for me. But yeah, paint trays, brushes, I use these all day long. They work, they're fast. Use them for the base coats, top coats. I do have smaller brushes that I use, of course, and quite a few, but I do get into the smaller ones like this. Let's see. So about the size of my finger. That's good for the middle stuff. And then when you get into the detail of the eyes, then there's the difference. Oops. Need more hands to do this. So when you do the eyes, you get that little dot on the eye to make the eye pop. And then if you want kind of have the teardrop to make the eyes sparkle a little more, you just do that little drop and then you flick it up, and then inside you come down. And these little brushes work great. Although when you're doing the small detail, you might need your reading glasses or a magnifying glass. I'm 50 years old now, and I'm noticing I need those reading glasses a lot more when I'm getting up close and doing the detail on the faces, especially. When I paint the statues, the eyes, I probably spend my most amount of time on the face. If I'm doing a custom paint on a dog, then I spend a lot more time on the face because that's what everybody relates to mostly. That's what they remember is the face, of course. And then, of course, on the chest, though, on the dog, that's the patterning. The patterning is pretty common. But in the eyes, there's a lot of layering in the eyes, because then you got your base coat, then you have kind of like the eyeliner. Sometimes the eyelids and stuff, they have that black into it. So then I don't use my base coat, which is diluted. Then you use your good black for your good color, for your thickness, and then you have your pupil. Or sometimes if you're doing a human eye, you got the white in the back, and then you got your pupil, then you got your color, and then you got your dots. And then of course you're gonna have some repair work in there, because chances are your hand might wiggle a little bit, or it didn't work out just how you wanted, or your circle went funny. Some eyes are oval, some eyes are vertical, some are just rectangle. I think it's a crocodile. I'm not sure. It's been a while since I've done just that square slotted eyeball. Anyways, so a couple other things that helps make life easier for me is a Lazy Susan. So this one is actually white, lots of colors, so white and red. This is the Betty Crocker one. I get it at the dollar store. This is what I first got when I first started doing this. And they work. There's no bearings in them. It's just plastic on plastic. So if you're doing a heavier statue, something 16 inches and bigger, these, you might want to throw a little olive oil in there to help them spin a little bit. Because once you start getting into a statue that's 2 feet tall, chances are it's getting too heavy for that. So I went to these bearing rings, and I buy them clean, brand new, looks a little more like that, and these spin, and there's a ring of bearings in there. You probably can't see them, and these things hold like 660 pounds. I do have this one I think is a 9-inch. You can get them up. When I bought these on eBay, they're about $10. I know there's a place not far from me, they're $12. So I'm not sure what there are online nowadays. I think the last time I looked, they're $20. And when I went back to that one place, they were only $14 after the pandemic. So I'm buying them there still. Seems like online got expensive. But I use these now. You can put these. These are made for stools or large things like tables, turning tables and stuff. But when you're doing something and you just want to wiggle the statue back around instead of you moving back and forth, the Lazy Susans, lifesaver like crazy. There's also a lift cart. There's a motorcycle lift cart. It's square. You can get it at Princess Auto. I think it's a little over $100. And they're hydraulic. and they will come. They're on wheels, and then I have one here right beside me. Actually, let's see if I can. So it's got a handle to release the table. The table's actually up kind of high right now, and then there's the hydraulic pump. It's kind of like just having a car jack, I guess. And but because I do so many statues, well, recently I was in a car accident about 15 months ago, and the whiplash just kicked me in the butt because I couldn't lift anything, and the occupational therapist like, I've got something for you. What about this? And it was this cart. And I was like, where the heck were you a long time ago? I could have used these 5 years ago. But for lifting and convenience, not even just for your statues, because personal level, you might only do this once a year or every couple of years. But for me, it's almost daily that I'm lifting something up and down all the time, that I could use it at my chest, and then I could use it at my waist, or I could use it down at my knee height so I can work on it up here or whatever, especially when I'm making molds. Then I can just get it to the comfortable work height, and that's it. It's great. So that might come in handy if you're kind of got an odd project kind of person. One of these tables just slowly, and then the full-size table, they're $200. So $100 to $300 with taxes gets you a good helping table. So those are some of the things that make it easy to do this stuff and make things last longer. I hope all these tips help. If there are any other questions, you might be able to message me through 6 Gnomes Lawn Ornaments on Facebook, or if you bought something from me, the chances are you have my cell phone. But if it's for a YouTube video, then maybe through the comments, or you go to the 6 Gnomes page on Facebook and message me there. Anyways, I hope those helped you out. Have a good day, and we'll see you all on the next video.